Finding Yourself Podcast, take one.
Alright. Oh, hello guys. Wow. 1 1 2. Testing. 1 2. Is this thing on? Are we working? Are we good? Are we in motion? Hello guys. Wow. I don't know where to start, it's kind of crazy. I want to put you guys in this year. Okay. Wow. I'm nervous, because we're here, we're live, and we're back. I mean, I think it's crazy that we're finally here, we're finally back, and you may be asking, Abby, where are we back to? And it is, drumroll please, Finding Yourself Podcast. We are back to podcasting. It has been a hot minute since I have podcast and been able to sit down and talk to you guys and just be real, be raw, finding my voice. I feel like I've been holding myself back from doing this from a while now because it has been a minute since I kind of just grabbed a mic, grabbed this time to be able to talk to you guys and kind of just share with you guys my heart, share with you guys what God has been speaking to me about and everything. I feel like there's a lot that we need to catch up on, so I'm just going to get right into it. So, hi, I'm Abby and welcome to Finding Yourself Podcast. So, basically, this is a podcast where we're going to be finding ourselves, and I feel like the two biggest things that we talk about is I feel like the two biggest things that every woman, why can't I talk right now? I feel like the two biggest thing, see, it's been a minute. I feel like the two biggest things that women talk about is number one, men, because we're obsessed with guys, and number two is your identity. So I feel like identity is such a big, big, big topic that we talk about and it needs to be discussed. And it is such a huge thing that we need to talk about. So, in this podcast, I feel from God to basically start this podcast to talk to you guys about all the topics that people don't normally talk about. So topics like perseverance. So topics like perseverance, topics like evangelism, topics like dealing with a broken heart, topics like giving up, doubting yourself, insecurities, times when you feel lonely. I feel like these are topics that a lot of people in ministry we don't talk about, and we need to talk about it. So, this podcast is basically an open door, an open space for us to just get real, get raw, get down to it, and honestly just open up. And for so many years now, I feel like my voice has been shut off. And it's crazy because I finally feel like it's time for me to get back up again, for me to speak out. I feel like this is a time where God wants me to speak out and to be able to talk about my feelings. If I want to talk about topics that people don't want to talk about certain things that not will trigger you, but I just feel like topics that need to be spoken. So I'll kind of give you guys along the journey. So what happened to ToughSkin Podcast? So if you guys are an OG listener, in 2018, 2019, I started this podcast called ToughSkin Podcast. And basically it was a podcast where everyone was like, where I was like, oh, everyone has a story, everybody goes through a process and learning how you have tough skin. So for me, that podcast was amazing. It was honestly the best. I had so many great, I had, what was it? I had so many great guests, so many great people that just came, but it it was a lot to handle and it was a lot, not too hot to handle, but it was a lot to handle and it was a lot for me personally to maintain the connections and for me to maintain not only the connections, but to maintain the guest every single week because basically the moral story of Tough Skin was me interviewing people. And as much as I love interviewing, I just honestly didn't have the time to interview people, do work full time, do ministry full time, try to do my business full time. So something had to let go. And I feel like it was a really hard thing for me because I really love the podcast and I really love speaking and, opening up and talking to you guys. But it came to a point where me doing podcasting was kind of taking away from like relationships and things like that. So it was a lot, dude. Like, it was a lot just being able to let go of something that I was very passionate about and something that, in a way, brings me therapy, in a way, brings me joy. So that's what podcasting is for me. It is my way of therapy. It's my way of just being able to talk to you guys and just to be able to open up, be vulnerable. YouTube is so different. YouTube is very like editing, cutthroat, um, very easy, but podcasting is very simple. It's very chill. Like I can just wear a sweater and sweatpants and talk to you guys. I can just chill. I can talk to you guys. And yeah. So Tough Skin is not here anymore, but I felt from God to start finding yourself. So I feel like identity has been such a huge thing that I've been into my whole life. Basically, I just feel I wrote a 12-page paper trying to find myself, and I feel like we're always constantly finding who we are in God, in ourselves, and I feel like this podcast is not I mean, like, obviously, this podcast is for you, but I feel like this podcast is for me, and I feel like it's for me to realize my fullest potential and kinda just find out who I am through these interviews, little bits and pieces of me. Like, I did an interview with Isaac, and he does evangelism, and that was me trying to find myself again through evangelism. And I just recently did a I'm doing these are like episodes you're gonna see, but I did an interview with Maddie, and we did an interview about getting over a breakup and how to get over a breakup and why breakups are taboo in the church. And I feel like that's me, getting over that. And there's going to be an episode where I speak to you guys about my healing journey. And that has something that when I spoke about that briefly on my YouTube channel, because I haven't been like detailed or like anything, I just feel like when you have this mic and you have this time, you get this opportunity to just be real, raw, vulnerable, and I don't know, it's different. It's different when you have, like, this, like, one-on-one connection than, like, sitting and be like, "Hey, guys, like, we're here," and it's just like, I can just be myself, and I think that I want this podcast to be you guys cleaning your room, driving, wherever you guys are, we're kinda just chatting, like, we're on FaceTime, and we all go through things. So comment below what you guys want to hear, what you guys want to see. Comment below the topics you guys want me to base on, talk about. I'll read you guys some of the topics that I've been feeling from God to more or less talk about, but it's going to be great. So basically some of the topics are letting God deal with a broken heart. So sozo, inner healing and deliverance, healing from the inside out, passion to persevere, never giving up, doubting yourself, the reality of being Christian, season of singleness, amen. Let's talk encounters. What's the God dream? Who who is God in your life? And what's the God dream? So, and balancing ministry and work. So, I feel like these topics, I mean, there's so many more topics that God has given me, and I think that this is gonna be a great season, and this is gonna be a great time in my life that I just get the chance to share with you guys. I get to share with you guys what's in my heart. I get to share with you guys these moments. So I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for sticking around with me in this journey, for just being able to be here and loving me for who I am. And like I said before, I feel like I lost my voice. I was telling my friend earlier, I feel like I lost my voice throughout this whole season in my life, like these past like few years. And I feel like I'm finally picking up the mic and I'm finally picking up my voice again. And I think it's so beautiful to be able to have these moments to speak to God, have these moments to be able to minister and be there for you, times of prayer, times of moments, times of this, times of that. Want to answer some questions. So I'm going to try to look for them right now. I finally found the questions that I wanted to answer, but first things first, I kind of want to answer this question like, where the heck have you been? You know, it's been 2019, 2021, 2023. It's been 5 years since that podcast, and it is so crazy. A lot has happened in the 5 years, and I don't know if you guys follow me on my YouTube channel or anything, but you guys will probably stay tuned with that. I'll just give you like a quick recap of my 5 years, I guess you can say. So, 2018, I started working at King Jesus Creative and starting doing that, started working, doing my business, etc. Um, and 2020, a whole pandemic came and it was wild, A whole pandemic came. We had to wear masks, we had to do all the things. You guys know what happened. And I got into a relationship. I had a whole boyfriend. I was a whole girlfriend. It was a journey, and it was an amazing journey, actually. And it was a crazy time that I was actually a girlfriend, So in those times, I was like learning how to be a girlfriend, unlearning how to be a single Pringle, and like all these things. 2021, still in the relationship, still working at King Jesus Creative. Obviously, in 2020, I was working in King Jesus Creative. I got promoted to being a producer, so I started to produce different projects and produce different campaigns. I got the chance to be in charge of the webcast team, so I was trying to figure out my route there, figuring things out for the different conferences that we had. We were like always running at King Jesus Ministry. So 2020, 2021, we were like dealing with the pandemic, and then 2021, I'm still in a relationship as well, navigating this, like learning, continue on in this journey. 2022 was a year where I'm still working at church, I'm still doing everything. I kind of like stopped doing my business. I stopped doing like my YouTube channel. I stopped caring, if that made sense, about a lot of things I was passionate about. And in 2022, I went through my first breakup, and it was a healing year for me, if that makes sense. So I kind of like went off the grid, and I was dealing with a lot of personal things. I was dealing with a lot of um personal things that I'll go into another episode on about healing, my healing journey. But yeah, so 2022 is like my healing era. I hate the way that that sounds, but whatever. So I was in that era. And then moving along to and traveling and doing a bunch of things. I took a solo trip actually. I went to LA. I took a solo trip for once, like, finding myself. And that was, if you guys want me to do an episode on my solo trip and like my feelings, what happened, and everything, let me know about that in the comments below. Comment down below what topics you guys want me to talk about. And yeah, so then moving on to 2022, I closed that chapter of my life. And in 2023, it's currently January 2023. I am here. I'm still working at Changes Creative as a producer. I am starting a podcast. I am aligning with my vision, the vision that God has for me. And yeah, so that's currently where I am right now. I am planning another trip in February. So that's going to be happening. I'm going to be podcasting with a really good friend over there. So There's a lot of content coming your way. Um, I don't know, I'm excited. So with that being said, I'm gonna answer a few questions and kind of just leave you guys on a high note because I feel like I just wanted to be back here and just sit with you guys and kind of just explain to you what the heck Finding Yourself podcast is, what happened to ToughSkin Podcast, where am I now, what am I doing? So here are some tea questions, my child. Here are some tea questions. So spill the tea on your first kiss. So this was basically an anonymous. This was an anonymous question that someone asked me. So, my first kiss was in middle school, and I was in middle school. I was at the bus station, not the bus station. I was going to a private bus that I would take to go home, and basically my boyfriend at the time, he came up to me and he said bye. And like back then in middle school, you guys would give like these really, really, really long hugs. And for some apparently reason, so he gave me a really long hug, and then he looked at me, and then he kinda just went for it. He kinda just, like, pop kissed me, and I was like, okay, bye." And then I just ran to the like, he went to the car. I saw that he, like, ran to the car, and once his car door closed, I ran to the bus, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had my first kiss." I think I was just really, really excited for that, so that was my first kiss. And someone goes, "You are your" I can't speak. Someone says, "You're really attractive," but they spelled your, like, Y-O-U-R, so you're very really attractive. Thank you, I appreciate it. The next one, send me anonymous questions, is what is your favorite TV show? So my favorite TV show as of now, I love anything reality TV, anything, all things reality TV. I love like The Bachelor, Big Brother, The Circle, Love is Blind. I honestly watch all those shows on I honestly watch all of the shows during my lunch break, and it's kind of funny just being able to be there and watching it. So that's been fun. And the next thing, the few shows that I've been watching recently actually is Ginny and Georgia. So Ginny and Georgia is such a good show. It's like a murder mystery type show. I watched The Recruit, which is good. The movie that's on top of my head is Don't Worry, Darling. It was kind of like scary, but I didn't think I could handle it. What other shows? And then yeah, any reality TV and like rom-coms are my jam. So as of right now, I would say my top is Ginny and Georgia because so good. So good. And then Netflix just comes out with like all these reality TV shows. So that is my favorite show. So someone else asked me, did you watch Game of Thrones? So no, I did not watch Game of Thrones. I haven't really watched it. I never really got into it. I know a lot of people that got into it, but I just haven't gotten into it. And so general question. Okay. So someone asked me, general question, not about you, but if someone is interested in someone and you feel like they're interested too, but you barely see them, but you want to see them, but distance is a factor. Any advice? Dang. This is like, I feel like we have to break down this question because this is a lot. um, so general question, not about you. Okay, so it's not about me. But if someone is interested in someone, so someone is interested in someone and you feel like they're interested too, but you barely see them, but you want to see them, but distance is a favor factor. Any advice? Okay, let me think. Um, honestly, how would I say this? I think shoot your shot. Like it's 2023, boo, and if you feel like utterly like that they're attracted to you and you are attracted to them, like what's the harm in not shooting your shot, you know? Because Like, at the end of the day, the worst he or she, the worst that they can say is no, you know? Like, that's the worst that they can say because if they wanna be with you and they wanna go, like, I feel like you, like, risk. I would just risk it. I mean, for me, it's kinda like a YOLO. I've been in a YOLO type of mood. I'm kinda like, "You know what? Just take a risk," you know? You never know what's going on, you never know what could happen. If you said yes this one time and it works out, like, go for it, and if it doesn't, then it's a lesson learned, I think something that 2022 taught me is kind of just, you know, learning your lessons and everything happens for a reason. So, look, you don't wanna think what if, you don't wanna think that. So, might as well just, see what's up, message them nicely and, you know, see if there's a potential. And if there's not, look, it's not. But distance, I mean, I feel like you can make if you're willing to, you'll be able to make it happen. So, distance shouldn't be a factor. If there is a distance, then basically set up a set up a time where you would be interested in showing them and make that conscious effort. If you're a girl, kind of just like scooch in a little bit more to be like, "Hey, like I'm interested to you." And if you're the guy, bro, just make it happen, bro. Like the worst that they can say is no. And girls, the worst that the guys can say is no. Like I think you should just do it. So that's my tea. If it doesn't work, I'm sorry. You did not get this advice from me. It didn't work, but if it does, it does. So, okay. So I think this is the last question here. So, what advice do you what advice do you give someone who wants to make new friends but doesn't trust anyone and sees people's shadiness? So, low key, like I feel like this might be a girl and maybe this might be me. Just kidding. But not really, but like kind of. So, what advice do you give someone who wants to make new friends but doesn't trust anyone and sees people's shadiness? So, first thing I say is, girl, go to the presence of God because people people do people things. And something that my mentor said is that people do people things and it is so hard because people suck, at the end of the day, and it's hard because people be shady and people are rough. But if you wanna make new friends, like, I remember in college or in high school this happened to me. I was in this course room and I was sitting by myself and I'm a very observant person. I was very shy in high school and I would look around. I saw like the jocks together, the cool people, the nerdy people, and I was sitting there and I just felt so insecure. And then I remember hearing God tell me, He was like, Abigail, no one's ever gonna come up to you. You have to come up to them. And I was like, that makes sense. It makes sense. It was kind of hard because I don't want to think that no one will ever come up to me, but it's a really great advice because no one will come up to you unless you go up to them. You have to make yourself presentable, make yourself friendly, and look, if you see people for their shadiness, you never know, like, 1 out of the 5 could be your best friend, you know? You never know if you said no to that date or you said no to that hangout because you thought everyone's gonna be shady, you never know you could potentially meet your best friend in this hangout. You could potentially meet people through this app. You can potentially do all that stuff, but I feel like if you don't say yes, you're just gonna live in this world of what if, and the what ifs are gonna kill you, So definitely say yes to opportunities, say yes to friends, and look, if people are shady, let them be shady, but you be you. You love God. God loves you. God will never leave, Jesus will never leave you or forsake you. And if people leave, then let them leave. Like they're not meant to be in your life. People are meant to be in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And once you discern the season that your friends are supposed to be in your life, then you'll realize your worth and your value. So that's my team. That's my thesis. I asked people to ask me types of content of what to make. So someone said how to stay focused on God even in bad days. So I love this topic so much because to stay focused on God even in your bad days is a decision. And I think like when you have that constant decision to remain focused in God, to remain focused in Him, it's such a beautiful thing. Someone asked me more about your content creation flow and ways to stay consistent. So, shout out to my friend Leo. He is the most consistent person that I have ever met. I have not been consistent. I am learning to be consistent. And the ways that you can be consistent is number one, planning. Number two, number one, planning, scheduling. Number two, bulk creating. And then just make it happen. So, that is, but I'll definitely go more in depth for a video in this or a podcast in this. Let me know which one you guys want to see. So somebody said how to have godly friends. So I definitely think kingdom friendships is key to being here with God, maintaining a good relationship with God. So kingdom friendships are key. I love that topic. Someone said how to get closer to God. Yes. Day in the life. Yes. And tu- tu- tu. Someone said fashion, how to style certain pieces of clothing. So, make a video. Cool. I like it. Intimacy with God. Yes. Intimacy, like the biggest thing is identity and your intimacy with God. Like that is the key to a solid relationship with God is having intimacy. And what is intimacy? Intimacy is into you, I see. Into you, we see. So literally spending that time with Him. You don't have to lock yourself in the room listening to Bethel worship. You don't have to lock yourself in your room listening to Upper Room medley all the time. You spending time with God is literally you being present and affirming God for who He is and genuinely spending time with Him. Like God, like you're not gonna like if you're meeting your best friend, you're not gonna be locked in the room for hours just singing to each other. You know, you're gonna talk to them, you're gonna get to know them, you're gonna do these things to get to know them and that's what God wants us to do. God wants us to get to know Him. So that is intimacy with God. So how to get closer to God, day in the life. And yeah, so that is basically that. Also, another life update. I'm sorry, this is all over the place, but my best friend, she has a baby. So, my best friend Gabby, she has a little baby boy. He's super cute. His name is Sebastian, and I love him so much. I love him the most. And I'm an auntie, so that's kind of crazy. My sister got married. Oh my God. In 2021, my sister got married. She's a whole wife, and I'm a whole single Pringle again. You know, so crazy how life turns itself out. I definitely want to record that healing process, but I want to do that when I'm a little more awake. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I kind of just wanted to sit here and talk with you guys, kind of just get real, raw, vulnerable. And, you know, this podcast is about finding yourself. This podcast is about me opening up to you, you opening up to me. You know, comment below what you guys have been up to over these past 5 years. My God, how crazy. Rate the podcast, you know, and yeah, a lot of changes are happening, a lot of transitions are happening. So I'm really excited because I kind of just want to talk about everything, and you guys are my outlet. So I miss being real, I miss being vulnerable. If you guys missed me, you know, give me a big hug. And yeah, your girl's back. Your girl's back better than ever, getting her voice back, and we love God. So everything's about to die. But I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching the video portion. If you guys watch it, give it a big thumbs up, like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media, be linked down below. It's Finding Yourself Podcast. Follow me on Instagram. It'll be linked below. And if you guys want to listen to the next episode, we will have guests, we will have fun things, we will have solo episodes, we will have trips, and we have this with our handy dandy um Zoom recorder, which is great. So Shout out to our mics and everything. I love it so much. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys again for being here with me on this journey. I really appreciate your support, and I hope that we get to find ourselves together, find ourselves doing great things with this podcast. I pray that this podcast turns out well, and I hope you guys like it. And yeah, so I love you guys so much. God bless you. Stay safe, stay with Jesus, know that He has a plan and purpose for you, never give up. And yeah, let's freaking do this thing. Let's do this thing. Let's podcast queens. And I can't believe, okay, I'm gonna go. Bye, guys.